All right, fine. We can go ahead and say it. Flat Cap was first. Congratulations, Flat Cap. You were the first one in, or at least the first one to make a comment, and I'm assuming throw a thumbs up here. Hey, I'm Jeff, founder of theChurch.digital. Forgive my sexy, raspy voice. I have bronchitis, and it has decided to kick in full steam ahead. I sound worse than I feel, but at the same time, I haven't been sleeping. And so really the issue is I stay up like from 2 to 5 in the morning, coughing out loud. Aki Gibson, of course, is now calling seconds. Aki, I'm learning. I'm excited about Aki because I found somebody that wants to do something in GTA, Grand Theft Auto, and excited to see what Aki is able to pull off with that. Like, part of me is like, oh my gosh, GTA, let's go. The Peasants Podcast had a conversation with him earlier today. One of our friends over with Barbara's team, over with, oh my gosh, Barbara, I'm blanking on the name of your company. The agency. This is Word Revolution. That was embarrassing. That's how sick I am. I couldn't even come up with Word Revolution, but excited to have you on, Jero, and cool to hang out with you here with this. And love what you're doing. By the way, I say this more and more with Word Revolution. Like, oh my God. Well, let's even just say this. Like, they're working overtime right now on making the Digital Missionary Conference happen in a big way. I know I was working late last night. I was probably working on the conference around 6 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. By the way, everybody's like overseas that's working with this. Barbara lives in Barcelona, and they're, the team scattered all over, Spain, Portugal, Latin and South America, different continents. And that's why I love working with these guys. And so I keep feeding stuff to Barbara do up to 10 o'clock at night. And then I was like, okay, Barbara, I gotta go to bed. I'm sorry, it's 10 o'clock, I'm dead. And then I'm like, wait, Barbara is like 5 hours ahead of me. Barbara, what time is it right now? And why are you working on this stuff at 2 o'clock in the morning, your time? Like, it was awesome. And so Peasants Podcast, Jero, thank you for jumping on and doing all the work that you're doing. But hey, as I scream awkwardly into the microphone, I'm excited about what we are doing today, doing a sneak peek of sorts here a little bit, talking about the Digital Missionary Conference. The Digital Missionary Conference. I was doing an open office this morning. I have programmed. I don't mean this like I'm pretty sure this number is true. I've programmed or designed probably a dozen conferences in my lifetime. Let's talk about Stadia. Let's talk about Exponential. Let's talk about New Thing Network. Let's talk about Leadership Network. Just around it was funny. I asked artificial intelligence. I asked ChatGPT to come up with church metaverse conferences that the church has done in virtual reality, to go out there and find it. And one of the few that it came back with was the Church Metaverse Summit that I actually designed for Leadership Network back in 22. And so, oh my gosh, I love, it's coming, Flat Cap, relax. I love the fact that I get to design something now for us, for the Church Digital, and we're going to execute it and get it out there in a big way. By the way, it's April 2nd, Wednesday, April 2nd. More information at that website on the screen, missionary.digital. Missionary.digital. More information on how and the conference is free, no cost on the conference, but you got to register. You got to RSVP. By the way, on demand, let's get this out of the way because everybody asks, is this conference going to be available on demand? Yes, it is. We will have the conference, all the keynote speakers available on demand. Good morning. How are you? What time is it that it's morning? I guess it's technically 11 where you are, but excited to see you here jumping on the stream with us. It is available on demand, rest assured. But you got to register. We're not putting this on YouTube. We're not putting this out there for anybody to watch. You gotta register. It is only available for the registered people for the conference. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I may want to possibly, go ahead and register over right now at missionary.digital. Well, hey, you know what? I'm going to be doing some sneak peeks in the weeks and the months to come. By the way, one of the things that we were working very hard on into the late hours of last night was rolling out some of the changes on the Missionary Digital website. Currently listed on the Missionary Digital website is now full listing of the, what do we got? 9 breakout speakers currently. There's one breakout speaker that confirmed today that's not on. There's 2 breakout speakers that confirmed today that are not on here, and I'm working on a 3rd. I am so sad. I am so bummed. There was a guy that I was working on to speak at this conference. This is what I talked about. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at the focus rolling out. I was really excited because I wanted this guy to speak at the conference. And the guy who's a friend is like, Jeff, I'm in, let's do it. You just got to get with my team to figure out a time to make it happen. And I worked with that team for 3 days trying to find, okay, I'm going to be here, he's going to be there, can we do it then? No. I'm going to be here, he's going to be there, can we do it? No. I'm going to be at Exponential. I can find the camera crew. Can I buy the guy coffee and just do like a selfie video with him at some Starbucks in Orlando? Is there any way? And the answer was no. There's always the next conference. And so we're excited to announce the first speaker of the second. No, I'm kidding. But we are working on those details now. We're going to do more of these digital missionary conferences. I'm excited about this. And it is going to be an awesome thing. But check out the Missionary Digital website. Right now, Flat Cap is saying I was on at 8 a.m. God bless you. And it was almost blank. So new if it's being updated. It looks great. Yeah, a lot has shifted over in the past 24 hours on the website. All the keynote speakers and the topics they're speaking on, rough titles. We're still finalizing. I think that's the word I'm trying to say. Finalizing. We're still finalizing some of that. All the breakouts. Oh my gosh, I lined up one breakout today already, a new one on cybersecurity. And I've got another one that's coming up. We're still massaging that one right now. But just so, and people are seeing this like, I want to be a part. I want to contribute. I want to come. Can I come? How do I do this? So missionary.digital, more information on that. But here with the sneak peek, I don't want to go long. We got other stuff we got to do today. I'm not going to stream for hours here on this. But I want to pick out a couple of things I'm excited about on the conference. By the way, we had a new sponsor. Let me start with that one. By the way, Steve Reed, it is impressive. Didn't know you were that well connected. I just happened to be the right place at the right time. I'm a closet introvert that loses his voice a lot, but happens to know people because I talk crazy. I was funny. We were, Stacy, I don't know if Stacy's on here. We were doing a call with South Africa. We're talking to a mental health organization, for lack of a better term, that operates out of South Africa. And the CEO met me before, so we had talked. And the CEO wanted me to have a conversation with this lady. And so, I go into my 5-minute spiel because she's like, has no context of who I am and what we're doing. And, you got to hear it. And the look on her face when I started talking about digital and metaverse churches. And I think I even said like virtual reality churches. And like her face was like, what? And I was like, yeah, virtual reality churches, like in metaverse. And wearing the headsets and video games and Grand Theft Auto and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, that's a thing? And now she's starting to get excited. I was like, yeah, we're meeting different people. And the more I kept talking, once she got off the, what the crap is this guy talking about? Oh my gosh, she lit up like a Christmas tree at the idea of doing something different, to reach something different. And I have that experience time and time again. It's one of my most favorite things about the job here, is seeing that initial reaction where somebody goes from, is this guy nuts? Is this a lunatic? To, holy crap, that's smart enough and that's crazy enough that just might work. What's the line from the A-Team? Didn't like Murdoch have a line where he would say something? All right, let's get into it. Hey, I want to talk to you about one of the new partners. So we just signed on last night for the mental health. Oh, I just made a sneak peek something into the conference too. For the Digital Missionary, you didn't hear me say that. The Digital Missionary Conference. Jesus Film. Cru, Campus Crusade for Christ. Cru, part of what they do is the Jesus Film Project. And the Jesus Film Project, it's don't tell anybody, but one of the greatest secrets of the Jesus Film Project and Cru is they are running massive experiments to be missional in virtual reality, in the metaverse, utilizing digital technology. To be honest, of all of the kind of global organizations that are out there, Campus Crusade for Christ, Cru, the Jesus Film, may be the most, if not one of the most forward-facing, innovative groups that are out there. And if you don't know what the Jesus Film is, like Google it. This is billions of people have seen the Jesus Film on multiple continents. Like it's translated into, I don't know, 100 different languages. The year was 1994, and we were showing the Jesus Film Project and the Jesus Film in Ukraine. I think I was Ukraine. Yeah, it was summer 94. I was in Ukraine. It's summer 95, technically. And so, yeah, and it goes way back, but because of the media, the Jesus Film has been so experimental in doing new techniques. It was funny. I had asked Meheret Eshte, who's like their director of digital strategy, hey, come speak, do this, and he came and he started listening to why we were doing the conference, and we're friends. We've worked together on different projects. I helped teach a virtual reality cohort think tank that they were doing at one point, and we kept playing phone tag and sending emails back and forth, and he's like, oh, it'd be great if you could have so and so speak, and I was like, I tried to have so and so speak. I couldn't convince him. He sounded, can you maybe talk to him and see if you can, oh man, he's going to speak, and we're going to do this, and he is excited about the idea of digital and metaverse missionaries and helping us with that. And so, man, last night they came on and said, hey, we're going to be one of the sponsors, and we want to help the Church Digital do this Digital Missionary Conference. And so, hey, Jesus Film, thank you very much. Meheret, it's going to be fun. He's going to be presenting in the digital, and then we'll have someone else, another associate. I'm really excited about the associate in virtual reality. The one's going to be talking about that. He may be one of the few, if not the only, paid digital missionary in virtual reality that I know of. I don't want to be on the planet, because I'm sure there are others, but the amount of people that have fundraised and are receiving a full-time salary on being a virtual reality missionary, few and far between. By the way, sneak peek, I'm not going to tell you who yet. We're going to roll it out later. This person that I'm talking about has been on the TCD podcast at least once. I'll even do this if you want to deep dive and discover it for yourself. He was on the podcast when I announced the publication of my first book, VR in the Metaverse Church. So if you want to scroll through the 329 podcasts that are listed and try to figure out who I'm talking about, go ahead. It's awesome, and we're going to look forward to launching this person on the website. But while I'm talking so much about Jesus Film, let me talk about Meheret. Meheret, it's so funny. One of the things that I love is when I talk about the framework, connect, community, quit, mobilize. We coach it, we teach it, we do so much centered around it, and it's the thing that we breathe. And yes, it can be contextualized, it can be adapted. It doesn't have to look different, but it's old hat for us because we just bang the drum all day long. Connect, community, quit, mobilize. Connect, community, quit, mobilize. All the way through. This is so funny in chat. They're trying to figure out who it was. Flat Cap's doing the hum. And she's wrestling with. I love this. I think I watched that one. You may have watched that one. No, that was good. Miharet, he says to me, "Hey Jeff, I had wanted him to do the talk on metaverse opportunities, ministry, and what it looks like. Some of the things, there's some really fascinating experiments that are happening right now with Jesus film and virtual reality. And I think the guest that I'm not prepared to announce yet is going to be speaking in some on that as well. But Maharet's like, hey, I would rather, like, if I can, could I jump over on the digital stage, because we have been getting a lot of success bridging VR chat. We're recognizing that VR chat at the connection level really isn't stable enough just for discipleship and evangelism, but we're needing to connect from VR chat into an asynchronous platform like Discord. And we're actually having huge success bridging VR chat into Discord, and then in Discord, building trust, establishing relationships. Evangelism, discipleship happens best in that space. And he's like, he's like, Jeff, I really want to do that talk. And I just started laughing. It's like, yeah, I mean, that we do that all the time. But it's that idea of asynchronous. The biggest secret globally at this point, in my opinion, on missiology, on digital missions, on taking the turn, it is 100% centered around how to better utilize asynchronous community. Whether you got 50 people or 500 people or 5,000 people, 50,000, 500,000, recognizing how to do digital community effectively, that's how you're going to grow and even multiply churches in digital and virtual space. And so Maharet is doing a turn and is reshaping his talk to be more centered around that asynchronous piece. And some of the learnings that CRU, Campus Crusade for Christ, is observing globally centered around asynchronous. Huge thing. So excited to see that. It's funny. I planned on spending more time in virtual reality. I now feel the tension. Because remember, the conference is going to exist on 2 stages simultaneously. Think about the old rock festivals you would go to as a kid. And it's like, okay, I've got this stage, there's going to be this band, and this stage, there's going to be this band. I want to see both stages. I want to see both bands, but they're at the same time. What am I going to do? That's the problem you're going to have with the Digital Missionary Conference, because we're going to have a broadcast stage where we're going to have a whole bunch of qualified, incredible speakers on digital missionary topics. And at the same time, we're going to have some speakers that are only speaking in virtual reality. And so the only way to connect with them live is to go jump into spatial and go hang out on the stage that's there in VR. And so the question I want to ask you is, what are you going to choose? Broadcast or digital? I actually have broadcast or VR. I think a lot of people are going to go back and forth. That's what I'm going to do. Like, I'll be over here for this one. I'll be speaking over here for this one. I'll be doing this over here. Like, I'm gonna be doing a dance routine, I think, throughout the day, bouncing around. I'm petrified I'm gonna miss one of my hosting or speaking opportunities. I think I'm gonna screw that up. But one of the things that we rolled out here on the conference as well is our breakouts. And so you can see on the website there's 25, some breakouts that are currently listed on the website. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities to learn on how to handle some of these things. One of the biggest challenges that we're facing in my opinion, top to bottom, I can sit down with as a matter of fact, I've done it twice this week. I've sat down with a virtual reality pastor that I have never met and say, hey, tell me a little bit about what you're doing, what's working, what's not working, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities, what do you need help with? And the constant theme that I hear in metaverse space especially, although I know it exists in digital too, is the idea of mental health. We're working with a church right now that has had 3 different suicide type situations. I don't get into details, you don't need the details, but 3 different suicide type situations within a month where they've had persons that are in that dire situation and they needed coaching, they needed counseling, they needed a conversation, they needed something. And the pastors are, okay, do we do that? Do we train individuals? And if you're asking those questions like in the moment, it's the wrong time to ask those questions. And so like for us, we're trying to help them now, okay, let's handle it in the moment. But one of the things that we're working on is how to develop a culture. So mental health, some of the things that need to be discussed, digital and the metaverse, like there are people that are comfortable dealing with that at a pastoral level, at a volunteer level. And how can even some of these ideas scale to be able to reach the number of digital and metaverse churches and opportunities that we're going to be doing. Like, this is the problem, and we, the Church Digital, are working on a solution. And to be honest, one of the people that are leading for us in that is Stacy Knapp, who is doing one of her breakouts that she's doing is grief care in the digital space. Like if you don't know, Stacy, like one of the things that she does as her missions work is she provides grief care. People that are dealing with loss and death, of family members, of friends, of situations, of jobs, loss can look very different. And one of the things that I've always respected about Stacy is she has figured out how to have conversations with people at a counseling level. Like, these are deep, rich conversations. Let me talk to you about my emotional capacity as I discuss with you how I lost my mother. Like, crap's going to get real quickly. And one of the things that I love about Stacy is she's always been able to figure out how to do that utilizing digital technology. Like, she can be on the other side of the country from the person she's talking with, the other side of the planet, and it doesn't matter. Like, she's figured out how to utilize the technology. Yes, there's strengths, yes, there's weaknesses, but she's figured out how to overcome it, to use it for good. And what she's going to be talking about is how to provide grief care, what grief care looks like, how to handle the emotional scope of some of this in digital space. It's not, it's funny. I have annoying tics about me. I have triggers, and if somebody says the wrong word, the wrong phrase, I just oftentimes I become a jerk. And one of those tics is Jeff, you just got to admit it's better physical than digital. I mean, physical is just better. I don't know that I can say that. Forgive me, I don't mean to be a jerk. Yes, I can sit down at a Starbucks and have a face-to-face conversation with Flat Cap. Flat Cap is saying right now Stacy's amazing, and Flat Cap's not lying. But I can sit down with Flat Cap and at a Starbucks. We had breakfast, I don't know, a month ago at a breakfast joint here in town, and it was awesome. I love Flat Cap. It was a great time. Now, at a counseling level, yes, I can read physical tics and emotions. Body language speaks volumes. But the transparency that you often get digitally versus physically, people are more open to discuss and share things digitally because there's a camera separating me and that person that I'm talking to. I'm not in the same pace. They can't judge me. I have safety in the distance. In virtual reality, the avatar is actually the thing you want to lean into. The last thing you want to do in virtual reality in those situations, hey, what's your name? Tell me where you're from. What do you do for a job? Tell me about your family. You don't want to ask those questions because the more that they divulge tangible physical information, the more they feel like that can result into a judging thing. And so Stacy's going to be rolling out, what does grief care look like in that space? How can you speak it? How can you take advantage of some of this stuff? And how can she come along and help through that. And so grief care in the digital space is one of the breakouts that's coming up. Let me see, what else do I want to do? I'm scrolling through here. Oh, this is a good one. I'm excited about this one. I'm still not sure how we're going to do this one. It'll be fun though. VR Tiger. You know what? I don't even know what this guy's name is. Flat Cap, do you know what VR Tiger's name is? I think I knew him. Talking about the last thing you ever want to do is ask people's names. He did tell me at one time, and I've got it on his email address, but VR Tiger has just been VR Tiger to me for years. And it's a former creative director of a church, stepped out of the church environment. He runs a advertising agency or a creative agency, does work outside of the church. But his ministry is he runs a virtual reality church called Oasis Church VR. And Oasis Church VR is, I would suggest, at least in the world building perspective, one of, if not the most creative experiences in virtual reality. Like I think the first church service I ever went to at Oasis Church in VR, he was preaching through the Old Testament, VR Tiger was. And it was literally preaching Old Testament, and he had the tabernacle built. And he was preaching the tabernacle. And so in virtual reality, we're walking around a tabernacle. It's the tent, and he's got the things built that are, biblically where it is, in the sacrifice, where that's happening within the tabernacle. Like I look over, and where that is in the tent, there's literally a cow with his head getting chopped off. And as the head falls to the floor, blood comes gushing out. And I'm not exaggerating. That actually is literally what's happening. But he was able to recreate the tabernacle inside virtual reality. I watched them preach a sermon on, Moses crossing the Dead Sea, right? I always confuse Dead Sea and Red Sea. It was Dead Sea that he walked on the bottom, right? Not the Red Sea, Dead Sea. The Dead Sea. And so I watched them preach that sermon. And what he actually did when he preached that sermon was he walked the floor of the Dead Sea in virtual reality. The waves are crashing over. He's walking on the dirt, the sand that's at the bottom of the sea. And there's different scripture and things that are popping up within the world. And he's walking, people are getting the experience. And at some point he stops and turns around and preaches and asks some questions. And like it's this incredible, immersive Bible environment. Now, Oasis Church VR, they did a bunch of this in Altspace VR, and then Altspace shut down, so they ported most of it over into VR Chat and one of the other worlds, I forget. I think they were in Spatial for a while too. I think they're in VR Chat majority. They are in VR Chat majority of it. But here's what's happening with their breakout. Their topic is world building and evangelism in VR. World building and evangelism in virtual reality. We're gonna have to break several laws of physics to make this happen, but people are going to go into Altar Live for the breakout room, and we're going to take everybody who's in the breakout and port them over into VR Chat, where they can see on the screen what is happening in virtual reality in this, and they're actually going to do their talk. VR Tiger, and he enables is like the discipleship pastor, for lack of a better term, that's operating in the space. I have no idea how to describe he enables. He enables, I think, gets everything done. Anyway, I won't get into it. But these two guys are co-teaching together on this. From the pastoral side, from the strategic side, from the world building side. And so they're going to be in VR Chat. You're not going to need a goggle. You're not going to need an account. You're going to be looking at the screen, and you're going to be interacting with them on the screen, and they're going to be, doing it all over there. This is what their breakout is going to be. And so, yeah, we're doing that in Altar Live. Did you use Altar Live out of House of His Glory? I don't remember you actually using it. I'm sure you checked it out because that was right there in your season. Yeah, Flat Cap has the follow-up question statement. I'm glad I'm not the tech guy for all of this. I agree with you. And that, my friends, is why I love Andy Mage. Because, let's just say this. I'm used to being the behind-the-scenes guy. I would much rather be in front of the screens for this. Because the tech aspects of running the two conferences simultaneously, recording on two conferences, streaming in different ways, streaming from one conference to the other at some points, because some of broadcast will be seen in virtual reality, some of virtual reality will be exclusively in virtual reality and not seen. There's even some things we're talking about how we want to like sneak peek. I don't want to give away too much. We want to sneak peek what's happening in virtual reality and broadcast. And so we'll get more into the weeds on this soon. But oh my gosh, we're gonna have so much fun. All right. Let me give another one. What do I want to talk about? All right, here's a good one for you. This is actually going to be, there's going to be a keynote on this. We'll get into the keynote later, but Ann Bosarge is doing a breakout called Crossing the Cultural Divide. Now, some of you know Ann. Ann's been on the TCD streams a lot. She's in and out of TCD. She runs a ministry called The Chapel Online. And so Ann, this is a fascinating story. But when Ann was a physical pastor at a digital church, and during COVID, they moved her, I think, from discipleship over to digital. And so she was running digital, learned a lot in digital. And you know what? She was actually really good in digital. She had developed a digital-only church reaching maybe 500 to 1,000 people, regularly engaging with people in digital space using different tools, essentially WhatsApp. And in sneak peek, it was actually, it was like majority African. And so Ann Bosarge, who, no disrespect intended, is a older American woman who lives in southern Georgia. A southern Georgia lady had figured out how to engage, evangelize, and disciple people on a different continent, and was having success with it. You know, we talk a lot about contextualization. How do we contextualize this? What do we do? Now, sneak peek on Ann. Ann was actually a missionary kid, and she had actually lived in Africa. And so her ability, oh my gosh, Ann Bosarge. I'm telling your story right now. Man, talk about lurk. Did somebody clue you on that we were talking about you? We're talking, Ann, we're talking right about you right now with the Chapel Online, Digital Discipleship, the organization that she runs. I'm talking about your breakout, Crossing the Cultural Divide. This is funny. Yeah, that's crazy. Love it. And so, but Ann figured out the secret sauce. How can we culturally engage with people that are outside of our scope? What do we need to do? What do we need to be sensitive to? What questions do we need to ask? And a lot of it is just that. Ask questions and listen. Don't make too many statements. Follow their lead in some of that. And I don't want to give away Ann's stuff. It's going to be solid. But that's another breakout that we're going to do. And so, hey, I don't know that I want to give it out anymore. We highlighted, one of the sponsors that's coming in, Jesus Film. So excited about what they're doing in virtual reality. Maharet doing the breakout, talking about asynchronous, what's going to happen in there. We talked about 3 different breakouts. We talked about Grief Care in Digital Space by Stacy. What was the other one that we did? VR Tiger, world building and evangelism with VR Tiger and He Enables. And then, of course, Crossing the Cultural Divide. Ann Bosarge, I love it. And I'm looking forward to that. We will have Ann keynote one of these sooner than later. One of the highlights for my Giving Tuesday stream last year was Dr. John interviewing Ann and just like having a blast with each other. And so excited about that. All this is at missionary.digital. The conference is free, but here's the deal. I said it. You's got to sign up. If you want to enjoy the experience live, if you can be there, it's roughly, I think, going to be 11 to 5 Eastern at missionary.digital. More information on that. 2 stages simultaneous. Altar Live, which is digital broadcast, and Spatial, which will be in virtual reality, happening simultaneously. You'll be able to go back and forth. Keynotes and breakouts throughout the day. Incredible stuff. But then, on top of that, if you're not able to make the conference, or you want to listen to what happened on the other stage that you weren't there, on demand we will do. It's not readily available. So if you want to watch something on demand, you want to hear some of these keynotes that are happening, you got to go watch, you got to go register right now for it. And so go ahead and take the time. If you haven't been over to the Digital Missionary Conference website, it's at missionary.digital. Go check it out. All the breakouts are over there. The sponsors that are there, click over the links, check out their websites, go buy something, tell them we said hello. All the breakouts, the keynotes are on the website, and there's going to be more coming as well. We've got more breakouts coming right now. We've got more speakers that are coming on. I mean, I'm probably going to do 7 or 8 of these things before the conference, a couple a week, just to talk about what's happening and what to expect. So many great opportunities in the days ahead. But hey, as we wrap up, and Ann says, I can't wait. I'm excited for the whole conference as I am too. And so it's going to be fun. Dr. John is going to be on as well. And so he's one of the keynotes attached to that. We'll get more into that. House of His Glory. I am in Spatial, but never launched. No, I'm motivated. This is the deal. And so I'm not picking on you when I say this at all. But there was Altar Live. I'm not Altar Live. Sorry, I'm going to say the wrong platform. AltSpace VR shut down. Microsoft put the money into ChatGPT. Guess what? In the grand scheme of things, that was a good play for Microsoft. Invest in ChatGPT, OpenAI. Look what happened with ChatGPT in the 2 years since there. And so VR kind of took a step back. Metaverse took a step back. Well, guess what? It's time to lean in. It's time to get back a little more aggressive. And I want to use the Digital Missionary Conference for our Metaverse friends, people that are doing ministry in Metaverse space. I want to use that as a beachhead. So let's circle the wagons. Let's encourage each other. Let's agree to experiment and explore ideas together. Let's figure out how we can empower you to do ministry. And let's release you to go do it. Don't be timid about what's happening in this space. Don't be embarrassed or frustrated because of limitations. Embrace them and figure out how to do it. Like, God is moving in virtual reality. It may not be in the places that it was. AltSpace, House of His Glory says AltSpace took the wind out of my sails. I agree. SAILS, not sales, for those reading, admittedly. But yeah, it's time to re-engage. It's time to get back into it. And that's what we want to do. We want to help people re-engage in ministry digitally, globally, metaverse globally. Pastor D, listen, Pastor D, you need to work with Barbara and recruit Barbara to be on your VR team. Of all of theChurch.digital, I'm the guy that wrote the book on virtual reality ministry. Barbara, I think, is actually the one that's most excited about virtual reality ministry in our leadership. I would have been okay. Hey, you know what? With this first conference, let's just be broadcast only. Let's not do digital. But I think Barbara would have killed me if we actually did that. And so go to town, Pastor D, and do that. Hey, you know what? This has been fun. This is the one of many. Check out the Church Digital calendar and social media. Will tell you where some of these other pop-ups are happening as we tease what's happening with the conference, the Digital Missionary Conference coming soon. Invite your friends, invite others. We'll have, in the coming days, we'll have some shareable graphics, some things that you can do to help us get the word out. But honestly, we need your help. Help us get 1,000 people, get the word out to register for this online conference. Invite your friends, invite your team, invite your pastor who has no idea what it is actually that you do, and let them come and learn what it is that we're doing. It's interesting. We sent out an email today. I'll tell with the story. No, I won't. I'm going to save that story for later. We're going to land a plane. I'm like, hey, Jeff, there's no way you're going to stream over 30 minutes. We're going to keep it we'll keep it under 30. And it's been 45 right now. So I got to go. I could sit here all day and talk, but I got to work at the Digital Missionary Conference. So we are going to wrap up right here. This has been great, but there's more to come. Streams next week and so much other goodness. Next week, we're doing I'll say it here. Next week, it's not going to be on Tuesday. It's going to be on Thursday. And we're going to do a prayer thing, a digital prayer thing. First time we're doing it on the conference. Stay tuned. More soon on that. But we're gonna challenge some people. Maybe offend some people a little bit in the stream next week. I mean, if you're not trying, you're not living. Something like that, right? But we're gonna wrap up here. For me, this is me, Jeff with theChurch.digital. Sign up for the conference. More information, questions, hit me up, and we'll see you next time on our streams and shows. Y'all have a good one.